And like I said earlier, man, it's just crazy right now what's going on in that division. EJ Manuel was benched, and that was kind of a shock to me. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, what do you think about that move? Benching EJ Manuel, you took the guy, he was the first quarterback drafted when he came out, and you are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. He was the first quarterback to be drafted, and I got to keep it real with you. I'm not the biggest EJ Manuel fan out there. I think he can play. I think he's got some skill. I don't know if he can play long-term in this league, but when they drafted him where he did, that was a shock. And I'm not the only one. I think it was a shock to everybody. I thought EJ was a good quarterback in college at Florida State, but I didn't see where, he strikes me as a guy that's good but never going to be great, a guy that's never going to take your team to the next level. Now, had some early success this year, and I guess what they're seeing in practice or what they saw in training camp was that this guy isn't that dude, that he's not going to be the guy to get it done. And so they pull the trigger on it real quick, and they're going to Kyle Orton. I don't know if you have, because when you draft a guy that high, you have a lot invested in him. Not just for the pick that you took, which the pick you needed to work, because if your first round picks don't work, then you're in trouble. And that's pretty much what's going on out in Oakland, which we'll talk about in a second. You are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. But you got to give these guys opportunity to fail. I mean, even the best quarterbacks come into the league and they struggle a little bit. So I don't know about this EJ Manuel move. And I think that the Bills feel like they have a good enough team with their running game with Fred Jackson and Spiller and those guys. And the defense is pretty tough. They feel like that they can win and they can't wait on this kid. I don't know about that. I almost think that you're pulling the trigger on that a little bit too early. Kind of what the Raiders did. They didn't pull the trigger too early, I think. The Raiders fired the head coach, Dennis Allen. Allen, 42 years old, was 8-28 as the Oakland Raiders coach. And they started 0-4 this year. And the Raiders have a long history of doing this. They'll fire your ass in a minute. And you can't get any consistency. You can't get any chemistry. You can't get nothing when you do this. The final straw for Allen was an embarrassing 38-14 loss to Miami on Sunday in London. So you getting embarrassed not just in America, you getting embarrassed in London too. You getting embarrassed all kind of ways. And so I feel like that Al Davis's boy, it just felt like they didn't need to make a move. But I don't know if this was the time that you should do it. And that's one of the questions, or one of the things that come up when you talk about the Oakland Raiders, is the fact of their stability. Okay, Al Davis is dead, and I remember everybody saying that, until Al dies, the Raiders are never going to change. Well, Al's kid owns the team now, Mark Davis, and he really hadn't done a lot. Okay, he hadn't done a lot. Reggie McKenzie is the GM, the former Raider, great player in his day, and this was his move. His move was hiring this young coach at the time when he was hired. He was 38 years old, all right, and Dennis Allen. And just like that experiment is over. So now the Raiders start over, okay? They start over. Their talent level is depleted. It's just not a lot to talk about if you're a Raiders fan, and not a lot that you can really look at as a positive and say that they're moving forward and they're going to turn this thing around at some point. All right, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Derek Carr looks like he's going to be a quarterback that they can build around, but he's still young. We don't know, and something like this is really, is a great chance that it's going to screw him up even more. When you bring in a different voice, now you're probably going to have a different coordinator at some point. They're probably going to make wholesale changes throughout the summer. So what do you do? What do you do if you're a Raiders fan? You stick by them? Yes, that's what fans do. They stick by their team through thick and thin. All right? Through thick and thin. They stand by their teams. And the Raiders are some of the greatest fans ever, the black hole. But you have to be frustrated because, I don't know. I mean, at some point, I think they're doing good things. I thought Hugh Jackson was doing some good things as the head coach for the Raiders, and then they fired him. All right, and I think that pretty much came along when McKenzie came in as a GM, and that's what happened when new management comes in. They want to bring in their guys. So I kind of get that. But I think Hugh Jackson had them going on the right path, and they got rid of him. I also thought that they were going in on the right path when they had Terrell Pryor. And I know it sounds crazy, and once again, we're not in practice. We don't see how the guy plays during practice. But I know one thing about Terrell Pryor. He made some NFL throws. And I think that you have to let guys mature and get better and see defenses and get reps. But for some reason, people are down on Terrell Pryor. The Oakland Raiders are. You thought that he found a home in a perfect situation and a perfect coach, a college-minded coach like Pete Carroll in Seattle. They ended up letting Terrell Pryor go. So evidently Terrell Pryor isn't as good as we think that he is, you know. Evidently he's not, because he's had a couple of different chances, and I thought the Raiders, I thought he found a home when he played for the Raiders, when he was named their starter, played a couple of games, had some success, but also threw some bad picks, made some bad plays. But I also think that part of that conversation has to be about the talent around him. So enough about Terrell Pryor, but the Raiders, if you're a Raiders fan, what do you think about this latest move? Of them firing another coach? You know, everything's going to be turned upside down now. Once again, like the Raiders might be the most unsecure team in sports right now. From what's happened ever since basically John Gruden left. The team has been horrible ever since Gruden left. It's almost like the curse of John Gruden. Like he put a hex on them. He gave him some root or something like that, because they have just been pitiful. I mean, a horrible, horrible situation in Oakland for a long, long time, and it's one of the premier franchises in the league, one of the storied franchises in the league. Their owner, one-time coach, legendary football guy, and Al Davis, did some great things. The Raiders were one of those teams when I was growing up. And it's just so sad to see to the depths that they've fallen. And I mean the depths, the depths of hell the Raiders have fallen over the last couple of years. All right, 404-382-0338, 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. This is the Doug Stewart Show, coming to you live and in effect from the ATL. This segment is brought to you by The Classic Party. Now, I've been telling you all week. About this party that's going down if you live in Atlanta this Friday at the Crown Plaza, downtown ATL. I mean, it's going to be bananas. Tickets are selling like crazy. The last day to buy advanced tickets at this price is tomorrow. So go online at theclassicparty.eventbrite.com and get your tickets right now. I'm telling you, it's going to be bananas. Ask anybody that was that came through the party I had last year for the Atlanta Classic when my South Carolina State Bulldogs came to town, and they'll tell you how bananas it was. Also, the event that I had 4 years ago when South Carolina State came to Atlanta and took on Georgia Tech. It was bananas then as well. So we're going to have a great time Friday, man. DJ Cowboy, DJ Cowboy does a lot of things, has been with V103 for the past, decade or so. So Cowboy is doing this thing old school style. If you've been to Old School Saturday, you know how Cowboy gets down. That's what we're going to have this Friday night in honor of the Classic game being played this Saturday. Let me read a couple of these tweets. Charles Rose says something else is going on with EJ. It just hasn't come out yet. It's got to be an upper management thing. And I believe you might be right. There may be more to the story because they were so high on him. And, EJ Manuel is one of those guys. He's very polished, very smart kid. You can tell he comes from a great family. So he said all the right things and did all the right things when he came out at the Combine. He was obviously fantastic. And the Buffalo Bills felt like that they could give him the keys to the car and run their organization and run their team. And a year later, and especially he's had some injuries, so he really hadn't had a full slate. Injured last year, missed a couple of games, injured early this year. So it's just mind-boggling when you think about, you just cutting ties and moving forward from a guy you drafted in the first round. I mean, that's crazy. But once again, I think that the Buffalo Bills feel like they have a team that can contend, and they're trying to win right now. And I can't be mad at a team for thinking they can win right now and doing what it takes to get it done. So if they feel like Kyle Orton is that guy, go ahead, I guess. But really, how much better is Kyle Orton? Even if he's better, why would you play Kyle Orton than give your young quarterback that you drafted in the first round snaps? So the whole thing makes no sense to me at all. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. And maybe there will be some more news to come out of this story. Maybe we will find out more of what's going on. And, maybe there's more to the story. Here's a tweet from Third Eye Guy. He says, the Raiders shouldn't have never let Hugh Jackson or Terrell Pryor go. Preach, Doug. And that's from T from Huntsville. T, thanks for the text. So T calls and he tweets. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't agree with those moves. Here's a tweet from That Ninja. He says, That Ninja. Bills are panicking way too early. Kyle Orton, ? And my sentiments exactly. It just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you go this early after 4 weeks, after 4 weeks in the league of the schedule? Would you go to Kyle Orton, a man that's 75 years old? Yeah, why would you go to that guy and you got a young, spry young guy who's smart that you can try to let progress, and you drafted him with the intention to play him. You took him in the first round. It wasn't like you took him in the fifth round and he's an experiment and you can work with him. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But once again, and I know it sounds like I'm flip-flopping on this subject, if you feel like Kyle Orton gives you a better shot to win, have at it, Buffalo Bills. But it doesn't make sense to me. Sammy Watkins, C.J. Spiller, you got some great guys. Fred Jackson, tough defense. Mario Williams. I don't know. We'll see how that plays itself out. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. Give me a call. We're doing text. We're doing trivia. We're also talking about this football. And I tell you what, man, the Raiders, what do you think about that? We're going to have Deion Branch on a little bit later. And we'll continue to take your calls and have fun. And also, when we get back, I want to mention quickly this story, what's going on in Michigan. You talk about teams that have come upon hard times. The Michigan Wolverines, one of the storied sports teams in America, is really struggling right now, and it's pretty much because of their coach. We'll get into that conversation and grab your calls as Sports Talk with Hot Sauce, Texas Pete Hot Sauce. It's the Doug Stewart Show. Fisher folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details. Welcome to Atlanta, my SC State Bulldog family. Once again, your boy Stu is throwing the biggest party of the year, October 3rd, 2014, in honor of the classic game being played in Atlanta that Saturday. It's only for the grown and sexy, though. The party will be held in the Georgia Ballroom in the Crown Plaza Hotel, located at 590 West Peachtree Street, Northwest ATL, starting at 10 p.m. Atlanta's own DJ Cowboy playing all the old school hits. You know how he do. It's going to be crazy. Last year in Asia, 4 years ago at Shout, this year at the Crown Plaza.